2025 has arrived, and to kick off the new year, we have made a small 20-liter nano aquarium in our showroom. Hey, I'm Balázs. New year, new me.
Jokes aside, I'm Kristóf and a sales team member in Green Aqua.
Let's start by introducing the ADA Aquasol Amazonia to the bottom of the empty tank. The wood we are using is the red moor wood, which has a nice curly texture and it will fill up the space conveniently. This whole layout can be used as a full low-tech aquarium without CO2 injection, with low light, but we are going to introduce the CO2 injection and we are going to have bright lighting in the Green Aqua Gallery in the case of this layout because we want to present the plants in their full splendor. We are going to use a nice lush green carpeting plant in the case of this layout, which does not require CO2 injection, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is. You'll have to stick with us until the end of this video to know. Let's start by introducing some lava stones to support the red moor wood that we introduce, and later on we can introduce the smaller pieces to the foreground. And these pieces are going to actually keep the wood steady. Adding smaller pieces will introduce more detail to this small layout. The more detail you have, the more interesting the layout will look in the long run. Let's see what kind of plants we're going to use. We have different kinds of anubias that need to be prepared, and we usually trim the end so that they don't overhang when we apply them in between the roots. Trimming the roots is generally not needed, but it's good to have if you want to keep the whole new layout tidy.
I started the planting with Bucephalandras, Wavy Green and Kedagang. These are the Wavy Green and there is the Kedagang.
These plants are all called epiphyte plants, which means that these plants are thriving on rocks and wood. They don't need to be planted in the soil. They will not cover a lot of space from the base of the aquarium, which means that you can actually build the aquarium vertically up with these, and you will have lush green growth not only at the carpeting level, but also as the roots go up towards the top of the layout. The Anubias coin leaf that we are using here is not to be mistaken for the mini coin, which is one of our favorite plants, but this one is still a very attractive plant with roundish leaves.
It's weeping moss.
We really like to apply weeping moss on the different wood pieces in our layouts because weeping moss tends to grow downwards, so weeping moss is a nice ancient looking moss on the wood that we are using in most layouts. You can apply the mosses with two technologies. You can either glue it or you can tie them onto the wood with different products that you're going to see in a minute. Using a combination of plants on the different wood pieces is a generally good idea to enhance the natural look of your layout. In nature, when you're observing the natural habitats, you will probably see that many plants are coexisting together and they are like complementing each other, making the layout or making the natural habitat more interesting. Let's finalize the whole layout by pouring some more soil to the back of the aquarium to raise the substrate a little bit.
This is Ludwigia Spätzred. It's a standard red low-tech plants.
You'll have to know that these reds will not be as accentuated in the case of low lighting and lack of CO2. So red is actually something that plants are using to protect themselves against strong light. So if you want to have good reds in your aquarium, you'll have to have strong lighting, and you actually have to have good iron fertilizers. Krzysztof is using the Riccia, and he is actually gluing it onto the lava stones in this case, and that is also being used as an epiphyte plant in this case.
You can use it for a carpet at low tech, and it's a very light green carpet.
Working in a nano tank is not easy because the space runs out pretty quickly when you introduce the layout, so you'll probably need to be a little bit more patient with introducing details later on and during the maintenance.
And this is Microzorum Trident, and I will fix it to the Fuji lava stone with Terraline.
The Microzorum Trident is one of our favorite Microzorum types because of the very narrow leaf structure. This delicate look will enhance the small details in this little aquarium. These are the top 3 most, I would say, popular epiphyte plant species: the Bucephalandras, the Anubias, and the Microzorum, the ferns. Most people use them extensively in their aquariums because they are relatively hardy, they don't require CO2, as I mentioned before, and they can have these dark green colors which will contrast well with the hardscape, with the fish. And now, the big reveal that I promised you guys at the beginning of this video, the carpeting plant.
And for a small carpet, I will use Littorella uniflora.
As I mentioned before, this plant can be used without CO2 injection, but if you do have CO2 in your aquarium, it will go faster, it will spread better, it will cover the substrate much better. Let me share another small trick with you. If you plant it and you see that the roots of the plants do not go into the soil deep enough, and you suspect that after filling up the tank they will float up, you can actually put some soil on top of those plants. They will root much better and they will grow out of the soil, and you can keep the whole thing stable, not floating up, looking ace. And then after that, if you still feel that the carpet is not full enough, you can still introduce some more plants in between the plants you have already put in. Looking at the final layout, you can actually imagine this in your own home, on the top of your desk, in your kitchen. A small jewel that will give a little bit of green life to the living space that you see every day, and you can enjoy the growth of the plants. To add some more color to the aquarium, we will introduce the orange sakura shrimp, and these are beautiful species and their colors really pop. This is not the video's color grading, guys. This is how they actually look. They look much better because they're not the regular species, not the regular orange sakura species, but they are the orange pumpkin, the special ones. How cool is that? Congratulations to Krzysztof for this beautiful layout he made for us. And with that, we conclude our video. We'll see you guys.